Hello, hello. Welcome to Courageous and Free with Jacqueline Mack. Today we are going to explore deeper aspects of success and fulfillment. So today's episode, we're actually going to dive into the question, what is the value of success without fulfillment? What is the value of success without fulfillment? While success often comes in recognition and achievements, it is not always going to guarantee that lasting happiness, that lasting contentment that we really are seeking when we are looking to live out a fulfilled life. So we're going to jump into uncovering the importance of finding fulfillment beyond the conventional measures, beyond these old paradigms and these old definitions our culture has created. So let's talk about first the definitions of success, the definitions of fulfillment, because when we think about the conventional definition of success, it's usually centered around wealth, fame, accomplishments, and the concept of fulfillment is involved at another layer of sense of purpose, satisfaction, joy in your life. That's what we call enjoying. We are in joy. We are probably in fulfillment of something, right? And so there is a clear distinction between the two, and yet they can be interconnected, but not mutually exclusive. So you can have success without fulfillment, and that's what we want to avoid, or at least I want to avoid and help others to avoid as well. So I ask, is it worth it? Is the success you're experiencing worth it, especially when you know you can actually have both? So why are we settling for these things, these moments of success, hitting these milestones or reaching these accolades that eventually die off? The novelty of the thing will die off when it's success without fulfillment. So there's this illusion of success. And the society will measure success through the external factors, right? Job titles, material possessions, social status, things like that. And unfortunately, there are individuals who have achieved high levels of success and yet struggle with the emotional well-being and lack of sense of purpose. I know because I've worked with quite a few of them, and I continue to check myself and allow myself to realize that there's no amount of success that I will allow to cost me my health, my vitality, my relationships, because it has in the past, and that did not serve me and my fulfillment and ultimately what I want to stand for and what I value in my life. Because the money will come and go, yet our most vital asset is our health. Like no amount of money even matters when you don't have your health to utilize it, if you think about that. And so this is why when I started my coaching career, I was in the health and wellness space. I was in corporate health and human performance. And then I learned how to become a high performer, even greater levels, and burnt out twice. It took me a good 2 lessons to learn this the hard way, and I don't recommend that. So when you think about the clarity, when you think about what you desire, what you deserve, what experiences, and what during your lifetime that you want to uncover that will gift you the fulfillment, because at the end of the day, you could fall victim to living out someone else's dreams, somebody else's desires, and actually burn out along the way because you're living according to the old paradigms, the old patterns, the old definitions. Again, what our culture and what we've allowed to define us. Because if you think about it, success and fulfillment, just like freedom, is defined by every individual in its own unique way. Like freedom and fulfillment to me are radically different than even some of my clients. Freedom and fulfillment to me, it could be radically different than a neighbor, right? So neither are right or wrong, neither is good or bad. It's just what it is. But what's most important is that you're clear on what your values are. You're clear on what fulfillment means for you. Because success, like fulfillment, you can have both. You really can. So why would you sacrifice others for the other? Why would you sacrifice your success for your fulfillment at the cost of or lack of fulfillment, right? So I've truly witnessed the poorest of the poor. I have been in different situations across the globe. I've been in the shanty towns, I've been in the favelas, and I've seen those individuals live a very rich life. They are the poorest of the poor, yet they are rich in their love, their connection, their community, and their fulfillment for where they are, because they know where they are is just where they are. It's not who they are. And they're not comparing themselves to other people, places, or things, because they know where they are is just where they are. And I've also witnessed working at one of the most prestigious country clubs in the United States. And I've witnessed working at a private jet company, and I've witnessed the richest of the rich. I've read autobiographies on billionaires, and I can tell you, witnessing others living out the fulfillment on both sides, what was evident was the richness and the happiness and the love and the connection in the community. That was what was present on both sides. Two extreme situations, two extreme levels of wealth, by definition of monetary wealth, but yet the richness was, you couldn't even compare, because it was so evident that both were living a very, very rich life. And what I've also witnessed is that the social class of one being radically different than the other, neither was better. Like, of course, the poor desire more of, as long as their basic needs are taken care of, but they desire more of something, right? But it's not always money, right? Everybody puts this money on this pedestal. We give our power away to it at times. And in reality, maybe it's just having a very simple life. Maybe it's having love and connection. Maybe it's, I want to be of service and have time freedom and money freedom to volunteer and give back more. Like, who's to judge and say one's better than the other? Nobody. That's why I'm here to share this, that understanding your values, understanding your fulfillment is critical, because you get to decide that, and you get to own your power and confidence in that. And yet again, news, media, even social media will expose this in different ways. Like, I can't wait for the day when coaches are sharing the number of lives impacted. Like, I know thousands and thousands of lives have been impacted through my coaching over the past 20 years, even in human performance, because I helped individuals not only who were leaders of their teams or their businesses or their communities create this ripple effect that also impacted thousands and thousands of individuals. So yes, I could say, I've made $1 million in my lifetime, but who cares about the $1 million made? It's the value and the massiveness of the impact. And this is why when I work with my clients, we talk about fulfillment, we talk about success, we talk about richness, money, connection, love, happiness, community, because all of it matters. And when they get to the point of like, how much money do you want to make per month? How much money do you want to earn per year? And I say, don't think of it as a survival sense or a lifestyle of feeling comfortable in the dream home or having the dream automobiles and the dream vacations or whatever that is. Those are all great too. But think of it as like the value that you are projecting into the world, the value you are creating and gifting other individuals, and what that means monetarily. Like, one is a direct reflection of the other. So if you're making $1 million a year, that's the value and impact you're creating in this globe per year. If you're bringing in $5,000 per month or $2,000 a month, and that to you seems like a massive, massive amount and is great impact, great. That's just what it is. The reflection of the money that we're bringing in has a direct reflection to the amount of impact and transformation we are creating in other people's lives. So like I said before, I can tell you that even witnessing other people's lives and fulfillment was evident in both experiences of that richness, that happiness, that love, that connection, no matter the social class. It was present in both. And that actually threw me a whirlwind, because this was in my early 20s when I was going around the globe, visiting these poor situations, figuring out who I want to be, thought I was still going to be pre-med and a doctor at the time. And that totally shifted my perspective and what I really wanted to do in life, right? So when we talk about, here we go. Sorry about that, little notifications popping up. We want to talk about now more the harmonizing, or people like to say balancing. There's nothing ever truly in balance, like equal balance. We're constantly shifting and evolving. So what is this balancing act or harmonization act of ambition and well-being, right? How can we say yes and to both of those. This was a huge learning curve for me, and it's still a practice of mine because there are pitfalls to having relentlessness when it comes to pursuit of happiness. Because without considering your own well-being, without considering other relationships that are involved, there's this awareness around, again, I know this firsthand, that you will burn out on the physical, mental, emotional levels. You will burn out if you don't take awareness and acknowledge what can happen with high achieving, ambitious drive, hustle, grind. That's not sustainable. You can do it for a sprint, you can do it for an amount of time, but just like the heart beats, it oscillates, it compresses, it expands, it compresses, it expands. That's how we also need to allow ourselves to live and create structure and practice around that, because we do need to recharge. Like we plug in our phones to recharge the battery. We need to recharge ourselves on a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual level, and allow that time and space to refuel and reactivate and go back to what we're doing. Because of sustaining this patterns of sprint, hustle, grind, which is usually the ambitious side of things, is not sustainable. So I highly encourage everyone to reevaluate what your definition is of success and assess whether or not it aligns to your true values. And maybe your values have shifted and changed. And maybe you were born into a family system that had different values, and you now have your own, and you want to shift and change those. It's okay. Permission to shift and change your values, because it should feel really, really good in your heart space and not just in your head space. This is why, again, when I'm working with my clients, I always tell them, definitely think logically, but feel intuitively, because it's that head-heart coherence to live out your ultimate life sooner than later. When you're just thinking logically, you can block yourself from so much, because our minds are honestly limited, and our heart space truly knows. And I believe that heart space is what's also connected to the divine. And God doesn't make mistakes. If you desire something, it's for you. It's in you, it's for you. I say this a lot, and it becomes a mantra even for some of my clients. It's in me, it's for me. I trust, I believe. What is for me will not miss me. It won't. It can't. Now, would you miss it as a human? Yes. If you overthink something and you are granted an opportunity and you overthink, and you delay and you overthink and you stall and you get distracted or you go back to it, you could definitely miss something that's for you. But it will not miss you unless you allow it, right? So again, go back, go deeper, go to that next level, a level of fulfillment, and ask yourself, what does fulfillment mean to me? What are my values? What are my big rocks? What does success mean to me? And it can be money too. Money is a beautiful vehicle to give generously, to live fully, but it's not the only thing. So when you give your power away to that one thing and it's not there, you miss out big time on fulfillment, on the journey of getting there, on the journey of becoming the person. Because again, we don't get to the dream, we don't get to the goal, we don't get to the end result. It's how we are being and showing up, and the experience of arriving. But that's another topic for another conversation. Now that I'm starting to go into that, I'm like, ooh, we could go really deep on this, but let's just go one layer deep. Let's go one layer deep on this fulfillment. And this is what's necessary when it comes to time and money freedom. It's the release of what's out of your control. There's so many things that in my past, including myself in this, that I tried to control, to hit goals, to hit quotas. And I did. I was make it happen person. I was even called Make It Happen Mac. That was my coaching name. Anybody could hire me and I'd come into their life and we would make it happen. We were certain of it. I was certain of it. And it would just happen. It would happen easily, but it was a hustle. It was a grind. It was a go. And it was a really good journey and experience. But at the end of the day, you have to release what is out of your control. It becomes much more easier. It becomes much more flow. It becomes much more of high level of integrity. And you have to release that feeling of control. The reason I like to control is because my childhood, I had a lot of things that were out of my control dictating my life. And I didn't like that feeling. I didn't like the feeling of uncertainty all the time. So what did I do? I grew up in these patterns of trying to control everything, right? So when you're trying to control everything, you become naturally a controlling person per se, unless you're aware, and you can start to mitigate and stop those patterns of behaviors, right? So releasing what's out of your control, because everything is out of your control except for two things. And if you want to understand what those two things are, and if you desire that freedom, and you want to start embracing this as a practice for yourself, you can go to my link in my Instagram, and I have everything there. It's actually free. So go grab it, gift that to yourself, give yourself more time freedom. Obviously, it'll activate more money freedom too, because you can release the things that are out of your control and focus on the things that are. And both of those will grant you so much more fulfillment in your life as well. So when we can acknowledge, this is the biggest part here, and release all those things we think we can control that are truly out of our control, and focus on those only two things, there's ultimate freedom, there's ultimate fulfillment right there. So achieving true fulfillment. This is finding fulfillment in everyday life. You deserve it. Not just one day when, not just once I retire, not just once I have the partner or the kids or the dog or the house or the whatever you're giving your power away to, but practicing the feel goods. What are those things that allow you to feel good, and be aware of that? And it becomes a practice. And I love doing this with my clients. And I love when my clients share with me when they come up with something new that has brought them fulfillment, because they played in the space of curiosity. They tried something new, or they faced a fear, or they got a little vulnerable. And some simple things that you can do right away is practicing gratitude of like where you are, what you have. I remember years ago, I dreamed of being where I am today. I remember years before that, like you couldn't have told me I'd be doing what I'm doing, and I would be pinching myself, right? And that practice of gratitude, that practice of engaging in hobbies you enjoy. Bonus step here is doing those hobbies with nature. Nature is very soothing, very grounding, especially for your nervous system. And also helping others, giving back. This is a big piece that I talk about in my high ticket sales coaching portals and programs, is giving versus getting. Nobody likes to be gotten, and nobody likes to go out and get people. This is why I said you don't get to a goal, you don't get to a dream, you don't get to your desire. You become the person to experience it. And it's during that experience of the journey of arriving. That's the gift. It's like if you look at your tombstone, look at tombstones across the globe. There's two dates, the date you were born and the date you die. And there's a little dash in between. That little dash is your freaking life. That little dash is your fulfillment. That little dash is everything. And yet it's the little thing. It's the little dash on the tombstone with these two dates. Yes, those two dates are important. Yes, those two dates are amazing. And yes, those two dates symbolize your first breath and your last. But where's the fulfillment? It's not just on those two dates. It's in between it all. So if this is all new to you, I highly recommend to explore your own practice of fulfillment, to start looking at self-reflection time and gifting yourself, investing in yourself, to look at your personal values, look at your actions, look at what is aligned, what feels good, and look at what your big rocks and your values are. And remember that success doesn't always automatically guarantee fulfillment. Pursuing your purpose and passion in life is something you deserve. It's not something that you just get to one day. It's intentional. It's a conscious way of showing up. And I encourage you to play in the space of curiosity, explore these paths that feel good to fulfillment, and redefine your definition of success in your terms in relation to your values, in relation to fulfillment. So it's a yes and, so that when you are hitting those levels of success, it's not at the cost of fulfillment. It's not at the cost of your health. It's not at the cost of your relationships. So thank you for joining us on this episode of Courageous and Free with Euros, Jacqueline Mack. I hope you enjoyed this discussion, and don't forget to subscribe to and share with your loved ones, your friends, your coworkers, your business partners. And also, again, if you want that free download on control, go grab it. It's in my link here on Instagram, and it's also over in the link of this podcast that will be posted soon. And until next time, remember that true fulfillment comes from within, and success is merely one part of the journey. One part of the journey. And with that, I send you with so much love. Until next time, bye for now.